Eric Van Conover's YouTube channel had close to 3 million subscribers. His whole channel was built around two things: luxury real estate and New York City. He toured mega mansions and penthouses worth tens of millions of dollars, and also walked through millionaire compounds in Colorado and beachfront estates in Malibu, and would occasionally mix in videos about what it's actually like to live in New York City. He would also post travel vlogs from places like Iceland, Norway, Japan, and Thailand, and even fitness content, including a series where he trained with Chris Hemsworth, and vlogs about his life as an aspiring actor and real estate agent in Manhattan. A lot of his videos pulled millions of views, with his biggest ones clearing 10 million. His channel was still active going into 2025. Nothing about any of it suggested what was about to happen. On March 13, 2025, Conover was arrested and charged with DWI in New Hampshire. 2 days later, on March 15th, things got worse. Officers in Bartlett, New Hampshire, caught Conover driving his Jeep at 55 to 60 miles per hour through a 35 miles per hour zone. When they attempted to pull him over, he refused to stop. The pursuit stretched on for about 8 miles before patrol officer Cameron Emmett approached the vehicle on foot, attempting to de-escalate and get Conover to comply peacefully. Instead, Conover hit the accelerator. Officer Emmett was struck, rolled onto the hood of the Jeep, was carried by the car for some distance, and was then thrown an estimated 40 feet from the car. Conover did not stop. He kept driving for another 28 miles until state police deployed spike strips and finally brought the pursuit to an end. What followed at his arraignment over the next few days was bizarre. Conover showed no remorse and appeared to be in an elevated, almost manic state. He called the incident a massive misunderstanding. He claimed it was a case of mistaken identity, and he told the courtroom in a statement the prosecutors would later use against him that he intended to eviscerate every single person with his intelligence. He was charged with attempted murder. Conover's legal defense hinged on mental illness. He filed an insanity defense in July 2025, claiming he had been in the grip of an acute bipolar manic episode during the incident. Prosecutors pushed back hard. They had obtained a recording of a phone call Conover made from jail, in which he was heard discussing how to use mental health as a legal strategy with someone on the outside. That recording significantly undermined the idea that his condition was something that had overtaken him involuntarily. In December 2025, Conover accepted a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to charges of first-degree assault and reckless conduct, and was sentenced to a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 10 years in state prison, with mandatory mental health treatment as part of the sentence. Officer Emmett delivered a victim impact statement in which he said the sentence did not reflect the severity of what he had experienced. Conover's channel is still online, and interestingly enough, while he's been in prison, 4 new videos have appeared on his channel in the last month, almost all of them old vlogs from 2014 and 2015. We have no way of knowing who uploaded these videos, whether it was someone Eric knows or a hacker. Either way, it definitely wasn't Eric himself, as he won't be getting out of prison for at least 4 years. German Abraham Loera Acosta launched his YouTube channel on June 10, 2016, and right out of the gate, the production quality was high. His first video was titled "The Question That Changed My Life." He presented himself as a marketing expert, a motivational speaker, and the director of an organization called In Lab Mexico. His content was clean, well-edited, and packed with the kind of aspirational messaging you'd find at a TED Talk or a corporate retreat. He mainly spoke about leadership, and about personal development, and about unlocking your professional potential. He wasn't some random guy rambling into his webcam. He looked and sounded like someone who had built something real, and in a way, he had, just not the thing he was showing people on camera. In 2017, Loera was invited to speak at the World Congress of Young Leaders for Peace in Mexico. He was being recognized internationally as an emerging voice in the personal development space. His last YouTube video was uploaded on July 5th, 2017, and then the channel went silent. He gave no explanation or a goodbye, just nothing. 8 months later, on February 28, 2018, a 33-year-old lawyer named Tiana Denise Medina was intercepted near her office in Chihuahua, Mexico, and forced into a vehicle by multiple assailants. She was driven to a house on Dolores de Arcado Street that's been rented in advance specifically for this purpose, and she was there for 48 hours. The kidnappers demanded a ransom of 2 million Mexican pesos, which at the time was equivalent to roughly $103,000 US. They wanted it paid in Bitcoin because they believed Bitcoin was untraceable. The person who planned the entire operation, selected the target, rented the safe house, and organized the crew was German Loera, the man who had been standing on international stages talking about how people could change their life. His assumption about Bitcoin turned out to be fatally wrong. Chihuahua's cyber police were able to trace the cryptocurrency transactions and track the gang's internet activity. On March 2, 2018, the state's anti-kidnapping unit rescued Medina from the safe house, and Loera was arrested along with the 5 accomplices. The Chihuahua District Attorney, Cesar Peniche, told reporters that Loera was clearly experienced in internet communication, but that, in the end, bitcoins are traceable. He also said he was genuinely surprised that someone with Loera's polished public profile was behind a violent kidnapping ring. There's one more detail that makes this case feel especially dark. Just weeks before the arrest, Loera's own father had been found decapitated in what appeared to be a cartel-related score settling. Prosecutors investigated whether the two events were connected, but ultimately found no direct link. In March 2020, all 6 men were sentenced to 50 years in prison. Germain's YouTube channel is still up, and it would seem he either somehow transferred access to the channel to someone else, or someone hacked it, as of this video, someone uploaded to it 6 months ago, but the video itself is just a still image with some AI voiceover. As for Germain himself, it'll be a very long time before he's able to touch that YouTube channel again.
I am here to stay for sure this time. I'm not going anywhere again. I am ready to take over the YouTube game with you guys. That's actually what I'm going to be talking about in today's video, is why I quit YouTube in the past and why I wasn't as active on social media as I usually am. So it's going to be a really serious and really personal video. I am so nervous. I don't know why. I feel like this is like my first YouTube video I've done. Okay, so for all the people who don't already know, I am transgender. So what that means is I was born a male. So I was born in a male's body, but growing up and all my life, I never felt like a male. I always felt like, and I always identified on the inside as female. And it took me a really long time to come to terms with that and to admit that to myself and to come out and tell other people.
Cadence Pinder was a transgender woman from Sandy, Utah, who built a small following on her YouTube channel documenting her gender transition. Her very first upload was a straightforward announcement that she was transgender, and she wanted to share her experience publicly. From there, the channel grew into a steady mix of beauty content, vlogs about going on hormone replacement therapy, changing her legal name, adopting a vegan diet, and storytime videos where she discussed her past work in gay pornography. One of those videos reached over 200,000 views. For a creator of her size, her audience was loyal and engaged. People were following her journey and they felt invested in her life. Behind the camera, Pinder lived with a long-term partner, a man named Marcus Strebel. The two of them shared a house in Sandy with Strebel's mother, and that house also functioned as a licensed in-home daycare. Children were being brought there and cared for every single day. That detail is important because of what investigators would eventually find on Pinder's phone. On December 2nd, 2019, Google filed a cyber tip with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Somebody had uploaded child abuse material to an online account. A second cyber tip was flagged 5 days later. Both tips traced back to Cadence Pinder. When law enforcement obtained her phone and conducted a forensic examination, they found approximately 125 images depicting the sexual abuse of prepubescent boys. Pinder told investigators she may have come across the images on Tumblr and believed the children depicted were of legal age. Strebel, when questioned separately, admitted that the two of them had encountered material depicting children as young as 3 and 4 years old. The claim that anyone can mistake a 3-year-old boy for someone of legal age doesn't need much commentary. Both were formally charged on February 23, 2021. Pinder faced 15 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor, a second-degree felony in Utah. Strebel faced 10. Their pre-trial release came with strict conditions, no internet access, and absolutely no contact with minors. They violated those conditions almost immediately by moving right back into the daycare home where children were still being cared for. A subsequent search of the property in December 2021 also turned up suspected methamphetamine. The Salt Lake County Health Department shut the daycare down permanently after that. When it came time for sentencing, both pleaded guilty to 2 counts each. Pinder received roughly 300 days in county jail with credit for time already served, meaning her actual remaining time behind bars was minimal. Strebel got 1 year. Both were placed on 4 years of probation and were required to register as sex offenders. The Utah Attorney General's office publicly criticized the sentences as far too lenient, and unsurprisingly, most people agreed. For crimes involving the exploitation of very young children, committed by people who lived in a home where children were cared for professionally, the punishment felt almost symbolic. The YouTube channel is still up today. Cadence has never returned to it, and it's fairly safe to say that she never will. Lindsay Savannarath was a college graduate from Illinois whose YouTube channel went by the handle Let Duty Guide Me. If you look at the channel now, what you'll find is a strange split. Most of it is an 18-episode Let's Play series of an obscure fantasy RPG called Neverend, with snarky episode titles and fairly standard gaming commentary. The other half is uploads of songs by Battalion 88, a neo-Nazi band. The 88 in the name is the white supremacist numerical code for Heil Hitler. Track titles included True Sacred War and the Summoning of Ancient Battle Spirits of Great Race. So you had a channel that had gaming content and white power music sitting side by side on the same channel, which tells you a lot about where her head was at. Beyond YouTube, her online footprint was massive. Her primary platform was Tumblr, where she ran a blog called School Shooter Chick with the tagline "Violence is the aesthetic." It was packed with Nazi imagery, Columbine references, and graphic gore content. She was also active on DeviantArt, Facebook, Twitter, and Iron March, a now defunct neo-Nazi forum that served as a gathering point for some of the most extreme white supremacists on the internet. It was through these online communities that Savannarath met a Canadian man named James Gamble. They connected on the Game FAQ's message board of all places and began an online relationship that was built almost entirely around their shared obsession with mass violence, Nazism, and the mythology of school shooters. DeviantArt in particular played a role in their radicalization. Members of neo-Nazi circles on the platform actively cultivated her interests and pushed her further toward extremism. Together with a third conspirator, another Canadian, named Randall Shepard, they developed a detailed plan for Valentine's Day 2015. The target was the food court at the Halifax Shopping Centre in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Savannarath would fly in from the United States. She and Gamble would enter the food court, throw Molotov cocktails into the crowd to create chaos and block exits, and then open fire. Gamble had access to a lever-action .308 rifle. Savannarath planned to bring a 16-gauge shotgun. The attack was designed to end with both of them taking their own lives. Shepard's role was more of a facilitator and supporter, described in court as the plot's cheerleader. The only reason hundreds of people didn't die on February 14, 2015 was a Crime Stoppers tip. Someone who had seen enough of their online activity to understand what was being planned called it in. Police moved fast. On February 13, 2015, the day before the planned massacre, Savannarath and Shepard were arrested at Halifax Stanfield International Airport. Savannarath had just gotten off her flight from the US. When officers went to James Gamble's home to arrest him, they found him dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Savannarath pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit murder in April 2017. On April 20, 2018, she was sentenced to life in prison with no eligibility for parole for 10 years. She appealed the sentence and lost in May 2019. In August 2025, she came up for her first parole hearing and was denied. While incarcerated, she gave a lengthy and surprisingly candid interview in 2019 to the Nighttime Podcast, a Halifax-based true crime show. Shepard pleaded guilty to the same conspiracy charge in November 2016 and received a 10-year sentence. He was paroled to a halfway house in the fall of 2021. Savannarath's YouTube channel, Let Duty Guide Me, is still up to this day and still has those neo-Nazi songs sitting there.
Yep,
honestly, with the amount of tip posting I was doing, as I call it, I didn't care if I got any. I didn't want it.
Bullshit, motherfucker! Alright, hey, Seattle. Shut up. Don't go like that. Say what you want to say, but don't.
I just wanted people to like me.
Just tell us your story.
Hey,
you were
Seattle.
trying to do pictures out of these fucking women, man. You're trying to fucking get all these girls nudes and Gamergate. Don't fucking lie.
Like when people really get to know me, they don't like guys don't like me at all.
Why do you say that? What turns them off?
I've never had male friends. All I had was female friends.
Can I ask something real quick?
Yes. Wait a minute.
What about your boyfriend, bitch?
Seattle.
Seattle.
Please. Jesus. By the way, you're.
Lane Davis ran a YouTube channel called Seattle for True that he'd been building since 2009. It had about 11,000 subscribers and close to 200 videos. Early on, it was the kind of conspiracy content that was all over YouTube in the late 2000s and early 2010s. Videos about 9/11 being an inside job, the Oklahoma City bombing being a false flag, and Alex Jones reposts. Then Gamergate happened, and Davis went deep. He made a 3-hour and 20-minute so-called documentary arguing that Gamergate was actually a plot orchestrated by Bill Gates to control American education through a gaming console. That one got close to 50,000 views. By 2016, the channel had shifted into alt-right culture war content, and one topic in particular became his obsession, tying progressive politics to pedophilia. Every few uploads circled back to it. Off YouTube, Davis was the unpaid political editor of the Ralph Retort, a Gamergate-adjacent website. He was active on Reddit's R the Donald on 4chan's poll board, and had worked as an unpaid researcher for Milo Yiannopoulos before the two had a bitter falling out. He was 33, unemployed, and living with his parents on Semish Island in Skagit County, Washington, completely dependent on them financially. His father, Chuck Davis, was a 73-year-old prominent maritime attorney and a beloved figure on the island. The two argued about politics at every meal. Chuck had even started recording Lane's outbursts on his phone because they happened so often. On the afternoon of July 14, 2017, Lane launched into another one, screaming about pedophiles taking over the country. His parents told him to leave. He chased them through the house, spitting in his father's face. At 3:37 p.m., his mother Catherine called 911. She told the dispatcher he was ranting about stuff from the internet, that he was mad about something about leftist pedophiles, and that he thought his parents were leftist and was calling them pedophiles. On the audio, Chuck can be heard telling Lane the police were on their way. Catherine can be heard saying, "Leave the knife alone." Lane grabbed a chef's knife and stabbed his father multiple times in the chest, back, and neck. Catherine called 911 again, screaming he stabbed him, and then a third time saying, "He's dead." Chuck was found dead on the back deck. Lane walked outside covered in blood, dropped the knife, and knelt with his hands up until deputies arrived. He confessed immediately. He told detectives the argument had started over whether toddlers could consent to sex, and that his father had called him a Nazi. In August 2018, he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 17 years. His family disowned him and left his name out of Chuck's obituary. The Ralph Retort scrubbed every article he'd ever written from their site, but of course his channel, Seattle for Truth, is still up today. Ash Armand, whose real name is Akshaya Kubiak, was one of the cast members on Gigolos, a Showtime reality series about male escorts working in Las Vegas. After the show, he started a YouTube channel under the name Ash Armand 1. His content was a mix of fitness, sexuality, and spirituality. His channel description invited viewers to ask questions about sensuality, sexuality, fitness, nutrition, and spirituality. He posted videos with titles about sexercise and ejaculation control, and presented himself as a guru figure who had transcended the desires and impulses that govern ordinary people. He was, by his own account, an enlightened man who had figured out how to exist on a different plane from the rest of us. On July 15, 2020, a 26-year-old Sikh woman named Harleen Kaur Dulai came to Armand's Las Vegas condo. Dulai was a Temple University graduate who had recently moved to Las Vegas. She was there to do Armand a favor, watch his dog while he traveled. Before he left, the two of them ingested psilocybin mushrooms together and watched the movie Avatar. What happened between that evening and the early hours of July 16th is known through two sources: the 911 call Armand placed and the autopsy report that followed. At some point during that night, Armand dialed 911. He told the dispatcher something that would later be played in court and reported widely. He said, "This is going to sound insane, because it is insane." He said he had temporarily lost his mind and he was no longer in this reality. Harleen Kaur Dulai was dead on the floor of his condo. The autopsy findings were severe. Dulai's body showed extensive injuries across multiple areas. Her official cause of death was blunt force trauma, with strangulation listed as a contributing factor. That combination is critical to understanding what happened. You don't strangle someone and beat them to death in a momentary lapse of consciousness. Strangulation alone requires sustained pressure, applied for minutes. Combined with blunt force trauma spread across the body, the evidence pointed to a prolonged violent assault, not a confused man who briefly lost his grip on reality. Armand was initially charged with first-degree murder. In September 2021, he accepted a plea deal and pleaded guilty to reduced charges of voluntary manslaughter and mayhem. The plea was reportedly structured to spare Dulai's family from having to sit through the details of a full trial. He was sentenced to 8 to 20 years in prison and is currently serving his time at the Southern Desert Correctional Center in Nevada. His YouTube channel is still up, and in May 2025, Armand's name came up again in the news when he was identified as an escort who had allegedly participated in the so-called freak-offs organized by Sean Diddy Combs, meaning he was most likely involved in criminal activity long before he took Harleen's life. Trent Paschal's YouTube channel is still up. You can go watch it right now, and if you do, what you'll find is one of the most ordinary family channels imaginable. There are 9 uploads in total. The last one is his son's first day of kindergarten. The rest consist of family trips, his 5-year-old son racing a remote control boat, DIY GoPro tutorials, and a baby laughing at bubbles. That's his whole channel. A dad filming his kids and messing around with his camera. Trent Paschal was 48 years old, from Lamarck, Texas, and he was married to 30-year-old Savannah Paschal. By October 2020, they were estranged. On the morning of October 21st, neighbors saw the two of them arguing. Savannah left the house and went to a neighbor's place. Trent left too, but then he came back. He went into the master bathroom and climbed inside the shower, and he waited. When Savannah returned to the house with her mother Shirley, Trent stepped out of the shower and told them he was going to shoot both of them. He fired 2 rounds into Savannah's stomach. Shirley ran. She made it to a neighbor's house. Savannah did not survive. Sometime that same day, a video appeared on a second YouTube channel Paschal ran, called Big Money T. It ran for 4 minutes and 22 seconds. In it, Trent spoke into the camera and addressed his 2 children directly. He told his daughter by name, Mackenzie Paschal, that he loved her and that he was sorry. Then he started justifying what he'd done, accusing Savannah of cheating on him, saying she'd been playing him for a fool, and claiming he had audio of her talking to other men.
I'm so sorry that I've done this. I want you to know that you mean everything to me. And William, I love you too. I love you so much. I love you like you're my own. I didn't choose this. Your mom chose this. She's been cheating on me for a long time. I have audio of her talking to other guys. I didn't do nothing wrong to her. She's been playing me for a fool. I told her not to mess with me, not to mess with my emotions. Don't play with me. I got an audio where she was calling a guy yesterday on her way to get her eyelashes done, and she said, "Hey, baby," and he goes, "Hey," and I was like, "That's not my voice. Why is she calling somebody else baby?" Then she started talking about a dream and everything, and she had with them too about sex. I put everything into this relationship. I have done nothing to your mom. I've never hit her. I've never hurt her. I've never called her names. A couple of times when I got really mad, I would say a bad word or something, but I've done everything I can. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm like, why me? I didn't do nothing wrong to her. I provided what I could. I've done what I could for her. I've done nothing but good for her. And I've treated y'all good. I've done good things for y'all. And I don't know what else to say. I love you, Mackenzie. I love you so much. Do something good with your life. Make me proud. Make me very proud.
Toward the end of the video, he abruptly cuts himself off mid-sentence and appears to duck out of frame, as if hiding from someone entering the house. Some investigators believe the video was recorded right before the murder, while he was lying in wait. Trent fled the scene in a grey Chevrolet Colorado. A Harris County Sheriff's deputy tracked him to a Walmart parking lot off of I-45 North in Houston. When Trent refused to drop his weapon, the deputy shot him. He survived, was arrested, and was charged with murder. He was eventually released on a $550,000 bond and fitted with an ankle monitor. On or around April 13, 2021, Paschal cut the ankle monitor off. He went to a car dealership in Houston, asked a salesman to take him on a test drive in a black Chevrolet Tahoe, and once they were on the road, pulled a knife and forced the salesman out of the vehicle. He disappeared. For roughly 9 months, nobody could find him. Investigators eventually tracked him to the Holiday Travel Park, an RV campground in Ocala, Florida, where he'd been living in a van. When Marlin County deputies moved in to serve the warrant in early January 2022, Trent Paschal shot and killed himself inside the van. He never stood trial. YouTube deleted the second channel Big Money T for violating its violent and graphic content policy. By the time it came down, the confession video had been viewed nearly 70,000 times. But his first channel, the one under his own name, with all of the wholesome videos of his family, is still there. But of course, as everyone now knows Trent's story, that's all they'll ever be able to think about when they see those videos. Samantha Walford was a mother of 5 from the Mount Pleasant area of Texas. She wanted to be famous. Her family described her as obsessed with social media and with the idea of becoming an internet personality, and her YouTube channel backs that up. Under the username SimplyManic6075, she uploaded dozens of videos over the course of a couple of years, pregnancy vlogs tracking each week, her babies giggling, movie reviews, beauty tutorials, and opinion videos on whatever news story was trending that week. She entered a Maxim Gamer Girl competition and made multiple videos campaigning for votes. It was the channel of someone who really wanted people to watch her life. Her husband, 29-year-old Ernest Ibarra Jr., was a tattoo artist in Titus County, and he did not share her enthusiasm for broadcasting their personal lives to strangers online. He actively disliked it. That tension ran through the marriage like a crack in a foundation. The channel went inactive sometime after 2014. What Walford was planning behind the scenes went far beyond leaving a bad marriage. She wanted her husband dead, and she recruited 3 men to make it happen. Their names were Jonathan Sanford, his brother Jose Antonio Ponce, and Octavius Lamar Rhymes. The original idea, if you can call it that, was to plant methamphetamine on Ibarra and get him arrested so that Walford could get full custody and move on with her life. But somewhere along the way, the plan shifted. Killing him was easier, cleaner, and no risk of him getting out and coming back. In the early morning hours of February 20th, 2015, Walford left the front door of the house unlocked and gave the 3 men access to her vehicle. They entered the home, attacked Ibarra, beat him, forced him into the car, and drove him out to a remote stretch of woods in Cam County, Texas, deep enough in that nobody would hear anything. Once they stopped, Ponce shot Ernest Ibarra Jr. in the back of the head. Back at the house, Walford went into performance mode. She staged the scene to look like a violent home invasion. She positioned herself as a victim, claiming masked intruders had broken into the house, tied her up, and gagged her. Then, instead of calling 911, she called her mother. That decision was the first crack in the story. Why would someone who had just survived a home invasion call their mother before calling the police? This was something investigators noticed. It didn't take long for the rest of the story to fall apart. Detectives pulled Walford's text messages and found the entire conspiracy laid out in her own words. One message read, "Kill his phone, shut that shit down, ditch phone, move." Another set of messages detailed how the plan was supposed to unfold. She had essentially documented her own guilt in real time through text. Sanford and Ponce each pleaded guilty in April 2016 and was sentenced to 50 years in prison. Rhymes opted for trial in December 2016 and received 93 years, with his 23-year kidnapping sentence and a 75-year murder sentence running back to back. Walford herself went to trial in the fall of 2017. She was convicted of all counts and sentenced to 95 years for murder, plus 50 years for aggravated kidnapping, and obviously she's still in prison today, incarcerated in a Texas state prison. Her channel is still up today, and it's definitely disturbing seeing those videos of her children, and the other ones of her talking about being a mother, when she had the father of those children brutally murdered, just because he didn't approve of what she was doing on the internet.
My little bro, we down here chilling. It's super crazy down here. Look at this motherfucker right here on the top of the hood. This is the only time where we equal. We did it. We did it, baby. We equal. Look at this motherfucker right here with his shirt on. Look at my man with no shirt. Yeah, we did it, baby. We out here.
Steve Stevens, who used the online persona Stevie Steve Stevens, ran a YouTube channel called Triple Jointed TV. His most viewed video, with over 340,000 views, was him celebrating the night the Cleveland Cavaliers won the NBA championship. In his day job, Stevens worked as a vocational specialist at Beachbrook, a behavioral health agency in Cleveland, Ohio, where he mentored at-risk teenagers. Nothing about his channel or his day job suggested what he was about to do. On Easter Sunday, April 16, 2017, at approximately 2 in the afternoon, 74-year-old Robert Godwin Sr. was walking home through Cleveland's Glenville neighborhood. Godwin was a retired foundry worker, a father of 9, and a grandfather of 14. He was collecting aluminum cans as he walked, which was something he did regularly. Stevens pulled his car alongside Godwin. He was already recording on his phone. Stevens told Godwin to say the name Joy Lane. Joy Lane was Stevens' ex-girlfriend. Then Stevens said, "She's the reason why this is about to happen to you." And he shot Robert Godwin Sr. in the head at point-blank range. Godwin was dead before he hit the sidewalk. He had never met Steve Stevens before that moment. He had no connection to Joy Lane or anything in Stevens' life. He was selected because he was there. Stevens uploaded the video to Facebook. It remained publicly accessible and playable for more than 2 hours. Facebook later issued a statement saying that it had disabled the account 20 minutes after the first user report was filed, but the lag between the upload and the first report was substantial, which meant the video circulated widely before anyone flagged it. In a separate video he posted, Stevens claimed to have killed 13 other people and said he intended to keep going. Cleveland police confirmed the following morning that they had found no evidence of any other victims. The motive was personal implosion. Stevens was drowning in gambling debts. His relationship with Joy Lane had ended. Rather than turning his rage inward or directing it at someone he actually had a grievance with, he found a random 74-year-old grandfather walking home with a bag of cans and executed him in broad daylight while filming it for the internet. A massive multi-state manhunt was launched. The FBI, the ATF, Cleveland Police, and multiple other agencies coordinated their search. A $50,000 reward was posted. The charge was aggravated murder. For 2 full days, nobody could locate Stevens. Then, on April 18th, a McDonald's employee in Erie County, Pennsylvania, recognized Stevens when he pulled through the drive-thru. The employee took his order and deliberately stole it while a co-worker called 911. Police arrived and gave chase. Officers performed a pit maneuver to stop the vehicle. During the stop, Stevens pulled out a gun and shot himself. He died at the scene. The case detonated a national debate about Facebook's content moderation systems. How could a video of a man being murdered stay publicly visible on one of the biggest platforms in the world for over 2 hours? Mark Zuckerberg addressed the failure directly at the Facebook Developers Conference, acknowledging the gap and promising to invest in faster detection and removal of violent content. Stevens' channel, Triple Jointed TV, is still online. All of the normal and positive videos were uploaded by a man who on Easter Sunday 2017 walked up to a grandfather collecting cans on a sidewalk in Cleveland and murdered him for absolutely no reason at all. Jared Miller's YouTube channel was under his own name, and watching it was a strange experience to say the least. Most of his uploads were videos of his 2 cats, Leonardo and Oreo. He'd film them, talk to them, and pet them. Normal cat owner stuff, except that while he was filming his cats, he'd sometimes be ranting to them about his anti-government beliefs, or you'd sometimes hear people talking about it on the radio in the background. The result was this deeply weird mix of domestic pet content and extremist ideology delivered in the same breath. Other videos on the channel were more conventionally alarming. He posted a rant video about government drones, pulling out a conspiracist magazine titled Drones, Are They Watching You?, and going on a long paranoid monologue about surveillance. That same video drifted into a rant about courthouses being centers of authoritarianism, which took on a much darker meaning after investigators found a detailed plan in his apartment to storm a courthouse in Las Vegas, take it by armed force, and execute the public officials inside.
Picked up this magazine. Well, my wife picked up this magazine because I'm on house arrest for selling marijuana. I know I'm such a big evil person, right? Check this out. This is quite disturbing. It says drones. Are they watching you? This is a whole magazine on drones. Whole magazine about it. No ads. All about drones. So are they watching you? Probably. I mean, they're already wiretapping your phones, watching your Facebook and everything. And they're probably watching this video of me right now. I don't care. Congrats. You're somebody special. You have clearance to watch and spy on the American people. I can look out my front window. And you look a little closer. There you go, right in the middle of that frame. That is the courthouse. It's a beautiful building, even though it is a monument to authoritarianism. You gotta go get your marriage license. You gotta go get gun permits. Whatever it is, you have to go down to that big stone structure monument to tyranny. I don't know. Sounds a little like Nazi Germany to me, or maybe communist Russia.
In a pair of videos posted just before the 2012 presidential election, which are actually no longer available on his own channel, Miller appeared in full Joker face paint, staring into the camera with a manic intensity, saying,
"My fellow Americans, I'm the Joker, and I'm running for president because year after year I've watched you Americans, my fellow citizens, vote for tyranny. And it's always the lesser of the two evils. You don't want too much tyranny too fast. You just, the lesser of two evils every year. But we have a chance to make history, ladies and gentlemen. You can vote for the more evil. And I'll tell you what, I give you my word on this. And I'm a man of my word, as you know. And I give you my word, utter transparency. When you vote for the Joker, you will know exactly what you get. Total and utter tyranny.
In 2 videos, he broke down in tears talking to his wife Amanda about how much he'd miss her while he was in prison for a marijuana conviction, saying she always made him smile no matter how crabby of a mood he was in because of the New World Order. In another, he warned the police can't be trusted because, in his own words, what better way to kill and rape after all if you're wearing a badge?
And I know we can get through this because we love each other so much, you know. And you're my trooper. You're so strong. You don't see it, but you are. And maybe you can, talk Jesse into giving you a foot massage every once in a while. But I love you so much with all my heart. And it's going to be tough, it's going to be tough on both of us. But time will go by fast. And every night I'm just going to imagine that you're just laying there next to me. And that I'm holding you. And I'll have dreams about you. And then I'll wake up pissed off because I know I'm in jail. But it's really for the best. Just to get it done and over with. We can save up money and I can get out. And then I can do some just odd jobs and stuff for cash and save up money to go. We can pick up, that money from Anderson. And we won't never have to worry about rent or nothing ever again. We'll just be able to just, be together all the time and do shit together all the time. And just say fuck the world together all the time.
So his channel was a lurching collection of cat videos of him crying, a Joker cosplay, and anti-government manifestos. And most people who make content like that never act on any of it. They vent on camera, and that's where it stops. Miller was different. He and his wife Amanda had spent time at Clive and Bundy's ranch in Nevada during the 2014 standoff between Bundy supporters and federal agents. They were asked to leave because even the people at the Bundy ranch, who were themselves engaged in an armed standoff with the government, thought the Millers were too radical and too unpredictable to have around. On the morning of June 8, 2014, at 11:18 a.m., Jared and Amanda walked into a CC's Pizza restaurant at 309 North Nellis Boulevard in Las Vegas. Inside, 2 Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department officers were eating lunch. Their names were Igor Soldo, age 31, and Alan Beck, age 41. They were in uniform, sitting in a booth and eating pizza. The Millers walked up and opened fire. According to the Clark County District Attorney's report, the entire ambush lasted 4 seconds. Both officers were killed before they could draw their weapons. After killing the officers, the Millers placed a yellow "Don't Tread on Me" flag on both of the bodies alongside a swastika symbol. They left a handwritten note on the table that read, "The revolution has begun." Then they left the restaurant and walked into a nearby Walmart. Inside the Walmart, Jared fired a round into the ceiling and shouted at shoppers to get out. A 31-year-old man named Joseph Wilcox was in the store at the time. Wilcox was legally carrying a concealed firearm and made the decision to try to stop Jared. He moved towards him. What Wilcox did not realize was that Amanda was positioned behind him. She shot Joseph Wilcox in the back, and he died on the floor of the Walmart. The standoff that followed lasted about 24 minutes. During that time, the Millers fired a total of 29 rounds, and Metro Police fired 16. When it was first reported, news outlets said Amanda had shot Jared before turning the gun on herself in murder-suicide, but the autopsy corrected the record. Jared was killed by a single rifle round by the police. Amanda then shot herself and was transported to the hospital, where she died. The total death toll for the June 8, 2014 shooting was 5. The 2 officers, bystander Joseph Wilcox, and both Jared and Amanda Miller themselves. And all of Jared's unhinged rant videos can still be found on YouTube today. Jennifer Hart and her wife Sarah had a YouTube channel that they started back in February 2008. It featured their 6 adopted children, Marquise, Hannah, Devante, Jeremiah, Abigail, and Sierra, and the videos were exactly what you'd expect from a family vlog. The videos featured the children singing together, performing, and generally just goofing around on camera. In late 2014, Devante became nationally famous when a photograph of him hugging a Portland police officer at a Ferguson protest went viral. Media outlets called it "The hug felt around the world." The Harts were held up as this picture-perfect progressive family, Jen pushed that image hard on Facebook too, constantly posting about how grateful she was, how beautiful her kids were, and how full their life together was. But Child Protective Services have been involved with this family across 3 different states: Minnesota, Oregon, and Washington. A teacher reported bruises on Hannah in 2008. In 2010, Abigail told authorities she was being beaten. Every time a report was filed, the family moved to a different state, and the system lost track of them. By 2018, they were living in Woodland, Washington, and a neighbor named Dana DeKaib had started reporting concerns. Devontae was showing up at her door asking for food. He was visibly thin and looked like he was being abused. Washington state caseworkers tried to reach the family on March 23, 2018. Nobody answered. They came back on March 26th. By then, Jane had already loaded everyone into the family's GMC Yukon XL and driven to the Northern California coast. She took them to a remote stretch of California State Route 1 in Mendocino County near Westport, where the road runs along the cliffs above the ocean. The SUV's airbag computer recorded what happened next. The vehicle was stopped, then the accelerator went to 100%, and the car hit 20 miles per hour before going off a cliff with a roughly 100-foot drop. Jen's blood alcohol level was above the legal limit. Sarah and at least 2 of the children had diphenhydramine in their systems, the active ingredient in Benadryl. Sarah had recently searched online for the lethal dose of Benadryl and whether drowning is a painful way to die. A coroner's jury ruled it a murder-suicide. All 8 of them died. The oldest, Marcus, was 19. The youngest, Sierra, was 12. Obviously, no one was ever prosecuted because everyone who could have been charged went over that cliff. The YouTube channel is still up. The videos of those children performing and smiling are still right there. Of course, people watching them when they were posted had no way of knowing that these children were most likely going through some pretty serious abuse at the time, and that their own adopted mothers would one day choose to do the unthinkable to them. Sergeant Jackropantha Tomar was a career soldier in the Royal Thai Army who ran a YouTube channel called Armor Piercing. The channel featured gun range footage, marksmanship demonstrations, and videos of Tomar handling various weapons. He also maintained a social media presence on Facebook, where he posted photos of himself in full combat gear and tactical equipment. Most of the detail reporting on his online activity comes from his Facebook account, rather than YouTube specifically, but the theme across every platform was identical. Every post revolved around firearms and the capacity to use them. On the afternoon of February 8th, 2020, the deadliest mass shooting in Thailand's history began with a property dispute. Tomar had a financial grievance connected to a real estate transaction involving his commanding officer, Colonel Anantharok Krasai, and a woman named Anong Mitran, who facilitated property deals for military officers. Tomar drove to Mitran's home and shot and killed both her and Colonel Krasai. He also wounded her business partner. From there, he did not stop. He drove to Suram Tampatak Army Base and raided the weapons arsenal. He killed a guard during the breach, stole a cache military-grade firearms, and commandeered a Humvee-type military vehicle. Armed with an arsenal that most civilians would never see in a lifetime, he drove toward Terminal 21 Korat, a major shopping mall in Nakhon Ratchasima, but he didn't go straight there. On the way, he stopped at a Buddhist temple called Wat Pa Saturam and opened fire, killing 8 civilians and 1 police officer at the temple grounds. When he arrived at Terminal 21, he killed 12 people in the parking area and outside the building. He then detonated a gas cylinder near the entrance before entering the mall and continuing to shoot. He took hostages. He moved through the building methodically, and through all of it, he was active on Facebook. He live-streamed portions of the attack and posted text updates as he moved through the mall. One post read, "Death is inevitable for everyone." Hours into the standoff, he wrote, "I'm tired. I can't pull my finger anymore." Facebook took his account down while the attack was still in progress. The standoff lasted approximately 17 hours. Thai security forces breached the mall and shot Tomar dead at about 9:05 a.m. on February 9, 2020. The final confirmed death toll was 29 people killed and 58 wounded. Early media reports put the number of dead at 26, but the figure climbed over the following days as critically wounded victims died in the hospital. The live media coverage of the siege itself became a separate controversy in Thailand, with the country's MBTC broadcasting regulator taking action against outlets that aired footage during the attack. His channel, Armor Piercing, is still on YouTube today. Considering that his entire online personality revolved around firearms, a lot of people will probably look at his YouTube channel and not be surprised at all that he committed the atrocity that he did. And that's the end of the video, folks. If you found this one interesting, then please be sure to give it a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're new, and consider donating on Patreon. All patrons get early ad-free access to videos, and higher tiers get their name on the screen and a shout out. I'd like to give a shout out to all of my patrons for their continued support, especially those whose names you're seeing on screen now. particularly The Vampire, Arthur Jones, Soak Pigeon, Bradley Stewart, Brad Berg, Squall and Fury, Stahlstorm, John Aaron Snow, Psychic Perk, Bohag, Peanut Mama 0724, Vampiric Misfit, Hendrik Fan 5, Sonny Hauser, Bailey Cosmic Black Metal 96, Mimi, Lagged Into Sunlight, KJ Musical, Losana, Brandon Field, Helen Korn, Kyle, BAN, Brendan O'Connell, Adam Clayton, Cal Nigula, Edward Howard, Danny Jade, Paul Mendoza, Alex Christmas, Bella Schwartz, Belsey Gell, Stimulate, Inquisitor Zarius, and Dick the Cock Johnson and the Woodmaster at WrestleMania X69 or maybe not Dude. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.